Alrighty, guys. Good evening. Thank you for joining us on this awesome February 2nd, Friday, as we are here on our weekly podcast. We're just going to take some time here to share. But as you guys can see, this is our first in-person podcast. I'm so excited.
Yay.
I'm so excited. So we have Margaret. So, Margaret, just go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi guys, my name is Margaret. Most of you guys know me from the events. I also am known as Tsunade driver. Usually I'm everywhere, or mostly everywhere.
Usually I'm everywhere. You're like, usually I'm the point of contact.
I get bored easy, so it's like, okay, let's go see what's going on over here. They hire me for a show, and I'm there.
Awesome. So thanks for joining us, Margaret. Appreciate it. So we were talking off camera, everybody that's on there. So let us know that you're here. We got some people already on. So we were talking about. I told her this is the first time. Well, we got Lalo on. Hi, Lalo. Like Lalo finally gets on. Lalo
nice.
He's hasn't gone on in the last 5 episodes, but it's okay. So, but I'm
What's up, Lalo?
Right. So, definitely cool. But I'm glad you joined us. Appreciate it very much, Margaret. So we were just talking about off camera, like. You said this is kind of like the first one you've done. Some of them weren't released yet and stuff.
Yeah. I think I've been interviewed a couple times, but I think this is the very first podcast. So.
Do you feel like there's a reason why? No, I'm just kidding.
No, I mean, there's people that were like, we need to do a podcast, but they never, it didn't work out yet. So I'm pretty sure they'll ask again, but we'll see.
Lalo said bestie. That had to be to you. And then we got Jerry joining us. So Jerry. So, but no, awesome. Appreciate it. So, all right, Margaret. So, kind of like what we talk about in every podcast, we talked about you being well known when it comes to vendors and things like that. So we're just going to break it down. But I always have to start with this one. Like, how did you get into all this nerd stuff? Like, because for me, I always say the same thing. My dad worked as a security guard, got me some Pokemon cards. I sold those cards, made some money, bought hot Cheetos and cheese because, why not? And then that's how I ended up liking, I guess, money or to make money. Or liking to make money? Oh, that sounds bad, right?
Yeah. You like the
entrepreneurship.
Yeah,
there you go. That sounds so bad. Yeah. I'm going to steal that one for the next one. But that's kind of what got me into the whole nerd stuff and so forth. So what kind of got you to was it always about organizing collecting, or did you always have a passion for it? How did all that stuff start when you were younger?
Well, pretty much it started with my dad was a big action movie star, fan. So we saw a lot of Enter the Dragon, stuff like that, and then we'd watch cartoons. And I'm from '83, so Ninja Turtles, Ghostbusters, He-Man, all that stuff. So, but unfortunately, we were kind of low income, so it's just we can get these little things here and there, So started with the collecting there, but then for the organization and stuff for shows and whatnot. My mom was part of the Guadalupanas. Right, the ladies that are always making tamales and salsas and stuff, and then also my family would volunteer us for the church festivals, so the Jamaicas and stuff. Hey, guess what? You're working the show, and I'd be like, do I have to? And they're like, yeah, you have to. So you start noticing a lot of things okay, you need X, Y, and Z to get this done, and just stick with it, and they need you to do the job, finish the job, and get it done, and it didn't kick in until later, for, let's see, we were watching an episode of Pokemon, and I noticed that the boots in the Pokemon episode looked a lot like the Jamaica boots and stuff, and I was like, hey, that looks like a Jamaica, and I was like, yeah. And I was like, what if we did one that was Pokemon themed? That'd be kind of cool. And friends were here, I started thinking about it more and more, and people are like, hey, if you ever do that, I would go, I'd be interested in that. And it's okay. And then I kept hearing a lot of people, and they're like, no, I'd go. Are we doing this? You're doing this? It's okay. So I was working with Anime United, which is David Elizondo, Mike Guzman, and David De Leon at the time. And then I'm like, hey guys, you want to get together, do an event? It's yeah, okay. I got in Moon Valley Anime. They came in also. We rented out the Palmer Pavilion. Just lightning in a bottle situation. The school let out, came over, 1,000 people, something, came to the show. And, that was the start of Pokefest. But it started with cartoons. and like working at church festivals. That's what gave me my experience, and I just kind of put it towards cartoons again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. So you talked about, you're from the 80s, right? So Ghostbusters, He-Man. I'm going to ask you this question. I already know the answer, but what was your go-to cartoon? What was that one that you just, like, I had to watch? Like, for me, it was Power Rangers, right? That was my generation from that, because I'm a 91 person. Just throwing out there. Yeah. But what was that one show that you were just hooked on?
For me, it was Ghostbusters, like the real Ghostbusters. Right after that, it's got to be Ninja Turtles. But I think it was He-Man and Ghostbusters at the same time.
Okay.
So it was not one, it's the other. And then like there was all these like really great like dark fantasy movies also, like Labyrinth and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like Muppets, of course. So all that helped mold my fandom into how weird it is now. But I'm just like, Ghostbusters.
That's awesome. Thank you, Roy. We got JD joining us. We got Roy from Kaboomon. So So I had to switch everything around. I was like, oh my God, that's so used to it. JD said, Margaret! I'm probably not going to yell it as loud.
Yeah.
Because we're pretty close to each other.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, okay, no, that's cool. So you start off with that. You start off with the harmonicas. So when you started doing the harmonicas with your family, what was the best turnout you had there? And what was like the worst one? Like, which one stuck to you? Like, man, this is how I always want to put them together. And what was the one that just killed you, like, step for step? Like, it was like everything went wrong, everything wanted to go wrong.
Right? Okay, so there's two that come to mind. The best one was where they have like that little jail where you can pay to put someone in jail, and then they can pay tickets. So they got our father at the time, Father Lalo. He passed away a couple of years ago, but that man can run. I just want to tell you that. They try to chase him down. Like, I know my dad was chasing him down and stuff. Like, hey, we paid. You gotta catch him first. That man ran everywhere. So, and then I ended up bailing him out because I had like found tickets. Like, okay, here. So then we became friends, and they were like, oh man. So that was like probably the highlight one. Mm-hmm. The one I remember, I'm like, man, this sucks. So I had convinced some friends that are also artists to like, hey, let's do a drawing booth at the Jamaica. It's like, all right. And it's like, let's sell our art for like, each piece is 50 cents. So this one lady heard 50 cents for art. Okay. So she had like, I want you to draw like 15 of these.
Jesus.
So I was like, all right. So I got stuck with it. I was like, all right. And then I'm like, okay, so it's this much. Well, you said 50 cents for the art. So I brought you all these. And she's like, I'm not going to pay you. I'm like, all right. So I got the papers, and they like, there we go. She was mad. And I'm like, what are you going to do? Nothing. You can't. I'm like, you wanted to get cheap stuff for free. So I think that was like the bad one. I was like,
that's the one that stuck with you?
Mm-hmm.
So Jerry saying, last year was my first Pokefest as a vendor. It was a great experience. Love the atmosphere.
No, nice. Thank you.
Yeah, love.
Tried very hard.
And that's actually going to be one of our topics of discussion that we talked about. So as you were doing the harmonicas and organizing your events, when you transitioned from that, how were you able to utilize those resources into this collecting world? Because, a lot of the times, and obviously you've been in the world a lot longer than me, right? So, like those people that you can go to, these people that you can't go to, like what was that kind of pinnacle moment where you were like, okay, like I'm going to lean on this person to help me kind of dip my toes in the water. And then from there, you kind of just said, F it, I'm going to jump into it. Who was the one who kind of taught you like what to look for and kind of give you that, I guess, confidence into introducing yourself to people?
Okay. So I think it's basically like my mentality is like, if you're willing to go into like the deep end with me, like when stuff gets like things get really tough and whatnot, and you hold out and you give me that teamwork and support, then you're good in my book, right? Because it's like, oh, you went like above and beyond. Like I would go above and beyond. They went above and beyond. I'd be like, all right, we can work together. Anybody that says or has promises like, oh, we could do this and that, and then they end up lacking on stuff, then that's not a person that, no, this is a one and done type of deal. Until you prove to me that like you're gonna stick it out with me, right? they're like, well, Anime United would be one of them. So Mike Guzman, he's my Pokefest partner for that reason. My group partner Moy, he was brother-in-law to the people that ran Moon Valley Anime. So he's been with me for a while. Mm-hmm. Friends and stuff. So, even on and off like the circuit. So people like them and David De Leon also stuff. We've seen a lot of shit happen. Mm-hmm. So they're like, yeah. And then we have that support where it's like we're still working together, obviously. So I'd say those people. I did get hired for BonsaiCon, which is now Reverie Expo or whatever. And out of that grouping, I think the only one that I would actually like, hey man, I would give her a shot is Yareli, which is the ex-president. Because me and her were the ones that take care of all the details in the first year. And it's like, oh, the devil's in the details. Says, yes, it is. It is very true. But she was mainstanding a lot of details and a lot of things I need to get done to get that show off the ground. And I was just her backup. And I remember they put me I was a cosplay department. And I'm like, I had barely cosplayed like a little bit. It's like, oh. And, you're not used to like cutting promos or doing the interview thing. You're just like, oh, real quiet, low, wildflower type deal. And then after that, I was like, okay, no, I'll just, I'll adapt and get it done. So it was probably those people there. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yep.
We got Isai from Dragon Bros and my buddy Carlos works for the government. You go, bro. You go remove that razor wire. No, I was about to say that. That's a whole other podcast for that.
Yeah.
So you were able to organize that. You found some good solid foundations, right, to build what it is that you're building. So and this one's going to be just a general question that we kind of talked about when you came. So how is it that since you're so part of every show, right, your services are hireable, right? People can call you to hire you for X, Y, and Z, right? So how is it that you try to separate yourself from those results for the event? Because obviously if an event goes good, it goes good. If an event goes bad, it goes bad, right? But a lot of times people can have the confusion, well, I was involved in it or you were involved in it for X, Y, Z. What are some of the things that what are kind of like your advice and stuff and boundaries for that? Yeah.
Well, first and foremost, so like, let's say the main event coordinator or the organizer like hires me to go and take care of vendors or, the programming or anything like that. So it's like, okay, so I usually just like, okay, this is what you hired me for. This is what you're getting. This, and this. Above that, I don't go above that and say like, oh, this is my show or this is whatever. Right. So I know this last one was part of the Star Wars, the Truth of Star Wars one. And I was not the organizer for that one, but I was the vendor coordinator. So everything that had to do with vendor coordinating and then like whatever else I needed to, like I just handled that. So they're like, and somebody told me as a joke, Marcus, that, what happened here? And I'm like, hey, dude, like there's stuff that happens. Like, the freeze, acts of God and, tickets and stuff.
Things beyond their control.
Yeah.
Because you can only control what you can control.
There's like, just like the storm that hit South Texas Comic Con last year, things out of control. And it's like, well, what happened here? And I'm like, well, all this stuff happened. It happens sometimes. It really does. There was actually the Victoria Comic Con that just happened, like Ben Margera canceled.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I did too. I was like,
I think I read it from your post. So yeah. I think you shared it, and I was out to lunch because I don't like to eat in my office. I like to separate work. I was in the car and I was reading, and I'm like, holy shit! Like this shit is just crazy.
It does happen, but some people are like, nah, that's they make it up. It's like, no, it does happen. I've seen it happen. Like it's happened to me too. But it's just basically putting a ground like, okay, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm like. That's all I'm handling. Any other questions for whatever, like they go to this person. Now, if it's in my show, then I'm responsible and I will stay face and like, okay, I messed up here or whatever, and this is where I need to fix it and whatever. But there's two different levels. There's being hired for this to do this, and that, and then there's running the show, and I'm in charge of all of this. Make sure that everybody's running on time and departments are working and, things are getting done.
We got Stephanie Ward saying Margaret with a lot of T's. Margaret.
Yeah. I told her about the podcast. So
Did you?
Like, Sharon.
I want to be that person, but I saw her like the page. Appreciate your like. I was like, oh, I get a smile every time I get a new like. I get a smile when I get a like, and I get a bigger smile when I get an unfollow. Because we get those too. I'm like, oh, that's just me.
That just makes you like live longer.
100%. Like,
all the hates.
I'm like, 2 people unfollowed you. I'm like, let's see which 2. I'm like, oh, it's fine. It is what it is. What's called them, but it is what it is. So, all right. So obviously, you separate yourself, right? You're getting hired to do X, Y, and Z. So, obviously, you're still the same market, right? Regardless if you get hired for, I don't know, let's just say Con 1 or Con 2, right?
Yep.
How is it that you're able to? Because obviously, we have so many different conventions, and we had that last year, right? We're just kind of just all fumbled the ball and stepped on each other's toes, right?
Yeah.
So, how is it that you're able to maintain that vendor buy-in? Because obviously, like, for vendors, especially now, I guess more with the economy, right? Obviously the price of tables have increased.
Yeah.
So, and the amount of shows increases the risk because we have that cannibalism going on where one show is trying to overtake another show and another show, and it just completely hurts the community in an aspect. So, how are you able to keep that vendor buy-in? Because obviously, they're going to be like, is it going to be like this show or is it going to be like that show? Like, how do you maintain that vendor buy-in? Because again, we all want to make sure that we're getting the correct vendors for that correct event.
Well, mainly it's a little bit extra work, but it's just like maintaining the quality of the show. Like down here, like I've always said it, and my partners will tell you that, like, down here is a different social economic standard, which means like it's not like how you're gonna run the show in Austin, San Antonio. You can charge up more up there. Unlike some people learned that the hard way when they were running, I don't know, FanCon, like we're gonna have the prices at this much for tables, and they're like, it's not gonna work. And then I'm like, they're gonna laugh at you, man. They're like, it's too much money, because down here it's either, well, that's money that goes into gas, that's money that goes into food, supporting your family. I'm like, this is a luxury. You got to keep that in mind. Yeah. So, it, like I said, it's a little bit extra, more details and such, but it's like for Pokefest, for example, we do payment plans. Where it's like, okay, you can put a down payment and then we'll follow up. And I write down all the details and whatnot. So, and it's also making sure, like, okay, well, accommodations. Like somebody has a child that's autistic and they need to be there. I'm not going to charge them extra for the table or like the booths or the passes, because it's like, okay, no, it's fine. You have a medical condition? Okay, you need to be put near the restroom, we'll do that for you. So it's a little bit extra more work, but the details and the care into making sure that the vendors are good, that's what keeps the vendors coming back. They're like, oh yeah, and then also the advertising. So we do a lot of grassroots marketing and advertising. So word of mouth, we don't do a lot of like ads and stuff, because that money can be poured into, we go and like talk to people one-on-one, and then they're like, oh, okay, yeah, or we put posts, we do stuff organically, and the word gets out. That's how we've grown Pokefest from the little Palmer Pavilion to where we're at the convention center now. And we're outgrowing the convention center now. So it does take time and stuff, but it's just the extra care that you put in and make sure you take care of your vendors. So like if there's like somebody couldn't make it, okay, well, see what you can do and help them out. So that's a lot of that.
We got Roy saying, thanks for being a great host. Pokefest is such an awesome event. You're very easy to coordinate with. Pokefest is our biggest revenue single day event. With it being in our backyard, it makes it a must show for us at Kaboom. That's Roy.
Hey, Roy.
So no, that's cool. That's cool. So you're using those skills for that thing. So how do you do it to, for example, and again, it's not about the name calling. It's not about talking smack about one show. But how do you get that vendor who had a show that didn't quite live up to that expectation and get them to buy in for that next show? Like, is there?
I've had a couple of people. They're like, "Oh, we thought this would be better or something." Or I had one artist that complained about a 10x10 spot. Normally, artist spots are 6x8, so it's like, dude, your table would have been way slower, like smaller. You're allowed to take extra tables at no extra fee, but this guy was complaining, and I'm like, okay. I'm like, we'll just put it out there, And we've had vendors that have that attitude of like, or they're always trying to get something, take advantage. Yeah. Like, oh, I need this.
They want to maximize what they can.
Yeah. And it's like, no, we're not going to put up with that. And I told my guys, I'm like, I know they were giving one of my group members like slack. Mm-hmm. They wanted to put, like, our down payment was like $25, right? And the guy was giving them like slack about stuff. And I was like, hey, we don't have to put up with that. Yeah. I'm like, tell him if it's not for him, then thank you very kindly. But, maybe this show is not for you. Like you can go try out other shows that are happening here. But please kindly get out of the way for the next person with the better attitude to come in. Yeah, it's just like that. And they're like, oh man, that's kind of mean. I'm like, no, that's very professional. Yeah. I'm like, there's a lot of other people with better attitudes, willing to work and more polite. And they're the ones that get into the shows. Yeah. Like we don't need negativity from people. It's like, why are you going to be telling stuff to somebody over $25 or something else? Like, oh, well, I thought this was going to be a good show. What's a one day? Yeah. I personally, I like to prove people wrong. Uh-huh. So there's people like, oh, it's a one day show. And I'm like, yeah. Have you ever been? No. And I'm like, oh, you should come and see. Yeah. And see what happens. And there's been a couple that are like, oh, you loved your show. Like this, like, oh my God, I was so surprised. And I was like, we told you, but you have to see it yourself,
Of course. We have Margie saying my bestie with the heart emoji. I'm assuming that's going to be high.
It's Margie.
Very cool, very cool. So, so then you get that vendor buy-in. So, now with Pokefest, what was the origin of Pokefest? Like I know you talked about it being in the Harmonica and so forth.
Yeah.
So, what was kind of that transition from the Harmonica into the Palmer Pavilion into the? I mean, eventually, right? Like you said, right? You ended up in the McAllen Convention Center. So, take us through the steps of, what got you through that and so forth.
Well, it all started with cartoons again. We were watching the episode of Gibble versus Shuckle, and there they showed like the booths outside the tournament, and I was like, man, those look like the booths at the Jamaica, and I was like, and that got me thinking. I was like, oh, like I mentioned earlier, and then I got together with like Anime United, Moon Valley, got together, built it, and we had like over 1,000 people like in the thing. I remember looking back like the photos and it's just crowds and crowds of people. And we were just like, oh crap. Like, okay, we got something good. Second year, we couldn't do the Palmer Pavilion anymore. So we heard that people were complaining about the heat. It's like, okay, well, let's find covered area, right? So we were at the library in McAllen. We packed it with 700 people in there. Damn. So it was like packed. And then we outgrew the library. Omnicon at the time, Mark from Omnicon offered like, hey, let's work together. I can get you into the McAllen Convention Center. Okay. All right. And I had worked for Mark for 1 year. So, and Michael Betancourt was there and stuff. So that's where we were working. So very transparent, like, okay, you get us a venue. This is what we're going to do. I'm going to bring in the vendors, the X, Y, and Z. Cosplay contests and stuff. And he's like, yeah, okay, well, we'll get it done. So this was the time when we weren't even in the expo halls. We were in the hall, in the meeting rooms.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, gaming room. So we got with the Stronghold, and they've been with us for a while. They ran the card games and stuff. The Pokemon League ran their video games tournaments and stuff. I got the vendors, and it like in the two rooms, and you could not walk backwards. You had to go with the flow, and I had to go so many times checking on the vendors. Like, hey guys, you good? Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go. And then again, hey guys, you good? And then there you go again. So I put in like my steps on that one. And some people, they got their start with Pokefest, like in the little shows. And then we moved from there to the Expo Halls. Expo Hall 1, packed it up. Expo Hall 2, packed that one up. In 30 minutes, we had 1,000 people. So it just kept growing and growing. We actually had to extend the time because we still had 300 people in line waiting to get in. And that's when the fire marshal issue came up, like, oh, okay, we got to make sure that, we keep people going and stuff. And that's when we finally graduated to the both rooms. Mm-hmm. And There was just a lot of people behind the scenes supporting, like, for the down payment and stuff. So we got that going. And then it's just me and my team just like, all right, let's put the word out, get vendors and whatnot, and, you know, keep it fair. This is the main thing also. Do payment plans and just, you know, just go from there. And I think we were on our 12th year now. Mm-hmm. Like, it's been 12 years. It does not feel like 12 years.
No?
No.
Does it feel like 24 years? I'm just kidding.
I don't know. It's just like, I've been along for the ride. So, but a lot of people got their start at Pokefest. And it's just like, now it's this creature. And I told my staff, my team members, I was like, I want to make sure we have a good handle on this, because this is a beast and I don't want it to get out of hand. I'm like, so different departments, we're going to do this, and that. And then Octavio came in to the staff. So now we have our other member, and he helped us grow to more. And I'm like, this is going to be a business at some point. I'm like, so we just, we listen to the people, listen to the vendors, get that done, keep it very fair. And we it's just growing and growing from there. And everybody's like, oh man, I love it. And like, I got recognized at the McDonald's. I went to go buy chicken nuggets for my niece, and the guy was like, but you run Pokefest? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, oh, I love it. I've been going since I've been a kid. And recently I met a 21-year-old girl, a cosplayer. Mm-hmm. She's like, I've been going to Pokefest for a while. And I was like, oh man, now I'm starting to feel like a little bit old. Like, it's like, oh, how old are you? And they're like 21. And I was like, that's cool. I'm like, yeah, you know, just keep it in mind.
You're like, I'm happy, a little worried at the same time.
Yeah, it's a little like, oh man, because you know, just go along. For me, it's the experience. I know we had like the line con situation, or there was one year where Pokemon Go came out, and some idiot in Harlingen was like, oh, I'm gonna go shoot up people and stuff. So the news came, and I got interviewed for that. That's actually where I met one of my friends, Oz Guerrero. Oz. He was dressed as Johnny Depp, as Captain Jack Sparrow, getting all interviewed and, you know, hey, what's up? And I was like, whatever. But, you know, a lot of issues from there and stuff. And like, oh, are you going to stop the show? I'm like, no. The show's already going to happen. We just had like a lot of safety precautions. So.
I get you. And that kind of was into my next question, because I was going to ask you, what's the one Pokefest that didn't go the way you planned, and what was the one that was the best one? Kind of same thing with that Margaret question.
So probably the year that they were calling it LineCon, because that was
LineCon?
Yeah, LineCon or LobbyCon, which is like the line was so long that you just spent your time in the lobby, right? LineCon. And I think it was that year that we were in like Expo Hall B for 5,000 or 4,000 something people, and there was so many people hanging out there that people were like, you can't come in until people leave. Yeah. And they were like, basically like, okay, 5 came out, 5 go in. And I was like, nah, we could do better than this. I'm like, I think we're gonna have to get to the bigger rooms, because we don't fit. So it's like, you want to have enough space for everybody, because a lot of people really love the show and they want to go hang out with their friends, which is the main thing. It's their outing. Some people, it's like their family thing, you know, because we've been established for a while. So they already know, like, oh, on Sunday we're going to go. Or we'll go early, you know. And the line wraps around the whole walkway and then some. So that was probably, like, the one I was like, yeah, we need to improve it. Mm-hmm. I know there was a lot of people like, yeah, we were trying to get in and stuff, and we couldn't get in. So I was like, all right, guys, we need to do changes.
Wait, so
we need to grow.
Who called it LineCon? Was that like y'all's self name, or
no? There was like friends of ours. One of my friends, her ex-boyfriend is the one that called it LineCon. Because I go and I read all the comments.
Yeah.
I just want to tell you guys. I read every comment that's posted. It's like, you think, oh no, I have her blocked. Oh no, I'll find a way.
When there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah. The best one probably is the one last year. Because that's the most we've had. With the counters and stuff. I know there was one that we had like, the count was like 14,000 and change. But that's because people kept coming back in. So we got the high numbers. So let's do half of that, like maybe like 5, 6 or something. But it was super packed. But then we started when we did the charging, the $5, people were like, oh, not a lot of people are going to go. And then other vendors were like, no, thank you for charging, because people were getting harassed, haggled for stuff. People were breaking their stuff, and like, you know, like the pulga.
Yeah.
So everybody that doesn't want to pay the $5, they didn't want to go. So it just kind of like, it upped the quality of the show and stuff. But yeah, last year we had, I believe it was like 5,389 or something like that, and that's like the most we've had in general. So, and I saw it in the hallways. I took a picture from the stage, and I'm like, man, it's like there's a lot of people here. And then we did include like Jurassic RGD, so then we had the dinosaurs also, the hero in the back. We had like the games. We had the Pokemon Bingo, which everybody loses their mind about because it's free stuff that you could win. You know, so like there's a line waiting, and cosplay contest. We had the RGB Ghostbusters out there. We had the Ninja Turtle van out there, which is the first time. They were like, we sold out of all that stuff, guys. And I was like, oh, well, I mean, it's a turtle van, just like turtle van. So yeah, last year I think was the best one we've had.
So how do you feel? Last year was the year. How do you feel like this year? Does the bar set higher? Do you double it for yourself, or what's the thinking of? Because I mean, time's ticking away, right?
Yes.
It's going to be in June, July. So
you have a date.
You're 2 months.
I cannot announce it yet. But
you're 2 months into the year already. You got like 5 more left. So
yes, but fortunately we started planning already. Mm-hmm. So once we have the show, it's like, okay, this worked. This didn't work. Let's see what we can improve. This year, I can tell you the theme. It's gonna be Pokefest 2024 Year of the Dragon, or the Year of the Dragons. So that's the theme we're gonna do. And last year was the jungle theme. So it's like Mew and stuff like that. So Mew was supposed to be our mascot and whatnot. We didn't get to put the photo up area, but it worked out. Anyways, but yeah, I'm just trying to see like what else we could do like to keep it entertaining for people. Like, oh, we have this, or we'll have a DIY station or something like that, So you won't get bored. You'll get to hang out there, spend money on the vendors, which is the main thing. Have a good time, enjoy yourself, because it's all about experiences now.
100%. And that's what brings me to my next question. So how is it that you as an organizer, right, you have to be able to balance both? Okay, I want to be able to, I need to get people in the door, right? Because bills aren't cheap, right?
And they keep coming.
So you got to get people through the door. You got to get vendors money, but you also have to have a good experience, because you can have people linger, but then somebody's going to be like, well, they're just the same people and so forth and on. So what's that chemical formula that you do to try to make sure you get the max of each category, right? You want a good amount of people coming in. You want vendors to be happy. You want people to linger, but there's a difference between lingering and, lingering a little too long, I guess you can say.
Well, I always look at it like, well, if I was to go to a show, what would I like to see, right? And then I also, I get advice, or I ask for people's opinions, like, okay, what do you think about this, right? I myself don't play card games, but there's a big outlet for people to play card games. So I'm like, okay, well, just because I don't like it doesn't mean it's not great. So I have like the stronghold, like, okay, guys, can you have this covered here so that people can go and play that? People that don't like card games, well, we have the gaming area. So it's like, oh, you can go play that, or people just go to see what else is new. Like we have Jurassic RGB, as I mentioned. We have GameStop out there. We have the Estero Llano State Park doing like little demos and instruction things on like animals, like Pokemon from here in the valley, This year, like with dragons, there's something special we got planned with Jurassic RGB.
Is that a dragon?
Well, I mean, it's sort of like a dragon, but you'll have to keep posted on that one. But just little things, because with the mascots, of course, I cannot tell you how many times people were like, "Oh, can we take a picture? How much does it charge, or how much does it cost?" And it's like, no, they're free. You could take a picture, and they're like, "Oh, okay." So then you get lines, and we have to have handlers for the mascots and stuff. And that's what draws people in, and the kids. And then also the kids are 12 and under getting free. Where do you see that like often? Yeah. You don't. Or, like people just like, I really enjoyed it. And, like I said, they get to start at Pokefest, or we treat them well, hopefully. And they come back and like, hey, like, let me know when the tables are going. I actually got 2 messages yesterday. It's barely February, David. Barely. Like, hey, when are the tables going? And I'm like, look, there's a lot of details. We need to get this finalized first. We will announce it later. Calm down. I'm like, I know people are excited because they look forward to it. besides South Texas Comic Con. I personally, that's my thing. I'm like, yay, Comic Con, you know.
Yeah, of course.
And then I work the show, so I'm just like, all right. So
that's great. We have Johnny from Funko Pop and Son saying hi, and he said dibs on Pokefest booths. So he's gonna be in your inbox soon.
All right.
And we got JJ from my good old friends over there. So thank you for joining us, Jay.
Right.
So very cool. So to find that balance, like you talked about, right? So you're just trying to make every experience unique and so forth.
And keep it fair.
Keep it fair, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the biggest thing. So for Pokefest, do you feel like this year, given like where the economy is at and everything, do you feel like this is going to be like a make it break it year? Do you feel like you might have to double down a little bit more, take a little bit more risk, or what do you think?
Well, doing a lot of events, you pretty much get real familiar with the equation, right? And like I said, I always take into consideration the social economic standard. So it's like, okay. So we're gonna see what we can do. I know we were thinking about maybe changing the prices a bit, but we've always tried to keep it like within budget.
Yeah.
Right. And like also we do the payment thing. So we'll work with you. Like we will work with you. As best as we can. Just be honest and stuff. We'll follow up, and I'm very consistent on that. And we'll see what we can do.
We have Vanessa saying hello, Margaret. Vanessa M. Perez. JJ saying 2-day show ? So.
Well, I don't know if I'm at liberty to say that one, but we are at that point where we're looking at growing. That's something that we had talked about like for a while. Like people are like, yeah, when is it going to do this? I'm like, I don't know if you know, but the convention center is really expensive, guys. Yeah, I'm like, it does take a lot, and it's a lot of work. So I mean, we have thought about it and stuff, but we are at that point, I think, where that topic is open for consideration.
It's a more serious topic. Though.
Yes.
A more discussed.
We'll keep it fair, guys. Affordable.
Thank you. Got Sydney joining us, a buddy of mine from Walmart. Thanks for joining. So Margaret, since you do all these different events, right, from Sanrio, Star Wars, and so forth, do you look at, I guess you can say, like the market to it and take from those to help build Pokefest, or do you just kind of learn from each event and then you apply that into Pokefest? Because I mean, for me, if I was in your situation, I'd do the same thing.
Yeah,
I would definitely want to say like, okay, like X, Y, and Z worked here. Then you try for another event, but that didn't work. But then this did better.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of those things that you do to make sure you uphold the quality of Pokefest?
Well, I look at it like to see if it was very popular or like Jurassic RGB. I keep bringing them up because there's one of the things. I met them at a little place in Harlingen called The Spot. And they were advertising, and we drove by, and I'm like, there's a T-Rex, and I was just like, turn around, go over there. And I think they had just started out and stuff. And I was like, that'd be cool to have a show. I just look at it like, oh, that'd be cool for the show here and there, And then they went with us, and absolutely big hit and stuff. And then they like working with us. Like stuff that didn't work, like, okay, well, if it's something that caused a lot of problems, like it was a good idea, but on paper, but it didn't work like on the thing. That's when I'm like, okay, yeah, no, let's expand this or do this,
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, space is a big issue. Like we make sure that there's enough space for everybody. Or like, oh, we had arcades and it didn't really work out. Or like this one, the way they had it didn't work. I'm like, okay, we need to rethink how we're gonna manage this. So it's a lot of stuff. And then you do learn from different shows that you do. Like this one worked well, this one didn't work. Just factor that in, and then we test run it at the show or at another show and see if that works. And if it goes well, then okay, yeah, we should do this, or we should bring this vendor here. They were really good. We just barely started taking like food vendors like 2 years ago. So the Frescas 956, like they sold out of Aguas Frescas so bad. Like, so much. They had poke bowls for like, I don't know, like 12 minutes or something, and then they sold out, and I was like, oh, okay. And then like last year we had the commemorative cups, which we had been wanting to do for a while. Those things sold out. Like I think I gave the last 4 of them out like last week at the Gamers Expo. Actually, nice. I was like, all right, here's to my judges and stuff, and then like to Lalo from Press Start, because I was like, here you go, man, because he helped us with our gaming. So And then we had people like, oh, do you have more cups? And I'm like, no, that was it. 200 sold out. The convention center was like, this is like weird. We thought it would sell slow. And I'm like, no. We used to have a deal where it was like $10 for the cup, 32-ounce refills. Now it's changed, right? Because, like inflation and whatnot. So now it's like, oh, well, you get a cup, but you get a refill. It's like, right. And so now there's like 20, 23 cups out there. People, whoever got one, you guys got lucky.
For sure.
Yeah.
So, given the fact that you put Pokefest together, you learned from all of that. What's kind of your advice that you want to give? Because, and I'm pretty sure you've seen our stream and you've heard us talk about it multiple times. At least myself, as a subject somewhat matter expert, I guess, whatever you want to say. Of a lot of people trying to repeat that, because again, when you're in this area of the community, right? It's not bad. I don't want to say. I'm trying to find the politically correct words. Like, you don't want people to fail, but they have to understand that they have to have the right reason to do it.
Yeah.
Because every time a show fails, whether you're part of it or not, it's still going to have a negative impact on. Let me try to sign up this next vendor, or even worse, let me see if I can book the same venue. But they're going to be like, well, we just had that last year or last month.
It does affect like the community and vendors and stuff.
So what's some advice that you have to overcome that, or for the people that are putting together shows and are not thinking of the 10 steps forward and the 10 steps back, right?
Well, first and foremost, don't lie to the vendors. That's one. Just be honest. That's the main one. And then just keep it fair. Like, I know there's expenditures that need to be done to get everything organized, right? I understand that. I've seen it. I've done it myself. I'm like, but have a good idea of what you're doing and like what you're gonna do, like or handle situations. Like, you want to get this, and that. Oh, you want to have a fun event? Okay. Well, what does that mean? Like, understand your purpose for the show. If you're just gonna do it to try to get fast money and not even have security or like safety measures or anything, like certain people that I know out there, then you're just a cash grab. And like, you end up with, I don't know, cosplay people getting into fist fights at cafes and stuff. So I heard. So stuff like that. Just, you got to make sure that you take care of your vendors, your event, quality of the event, and take care of the attendees as well. Like, listen to them and like, okay, well, this is what happened, or they're asking for this, and just take that and accommodate as best you can. Like, don't go overboard, because I've seen some people go overboard on it, and then they get burned, and it's like, oh, it's all for this. There's got to be a balance, but first and foremost, don't lie and keep it fair. All across the board.
So more of the integrity of the entire thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and that kind of ties into some other stuff that we should talk about. So when we talk about Pokefest and we talk about all these different events that you do, what are some of those things that? Hold on, I guess a comment coming in here. Oh, Limon put fist fights and coffee sounds like an event name. Fist fights and coffee. From Quantum Consultations. I can't say it one. You're gonna kill me on that one. So, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
So, but again, to steer back to the subject. So, you notice that there's a lot of them just kind of burning the venues and so forth. So, how do you get that buyback from a venue? Because again, a vendor, I mean, you can talk. Everyone has a personal reputation, right? Whether it's going to be a good event, a bad event, a one-hit wonder event, and so forth. How do you get back that buy-in from a venue? Because they're the ones that also have to take a risk, right? So how do you get that, or what's your recommendation for that?
Well, I guess it's like going into a business meeting. You have to prepare the pitch. Okay, this is the event we want to do, and then you show them the work that you put in. Like, this is what we're doing, and you do not overpromise. That's the other thing. You don't overpromise stuff. Like, if it's out of your hands and you're promising all these like fantastic things and you don't even have it ready, then what are you doing? You're just setting yourself up to fail, because it's like, when you get caught, and you will, it's going to burn not only you, but reputation, and they're not going to want to work with you anymore. So it's kind of like you blacklist yourself. But the venue, basically, it's you prepare and like, okay, this is what we want to do. This is what we have planned. These are my past events that I've done. That's the other thing, like reputation. A lot of people and a lot of venues are like, well, who's running the show? or like who's what have you done before. I know the convention center before they were kind of lenient on stuff like that up until there was a certain event that happened there and it was falsely advertised. So they had vendors show up at their place asking to set up and they didn't have anything on the roster. So they had to make a form to prevent that. It's like now you have to okay, you're gonna rent out the thing, right? What have you done? You have to show us that you've done successful runs in the past, or semi. And what reputation do you have? So it's just put into work, go with your pitch, go prepared, know what mission statement you're gonna have for the show, and then just be very forward, and precise on what you're gonna say. Pretty much.
Okay.
Well prepared.
So let's double back to that question. So let's just say you're pitching to somebody. Let's say you're pitching to David. You're pitching to me.
Okay.
What would be your I don't want to say if price wasn't an option, but if you could pitch the best Pokefest, we're gonna bring XY talent. I mean, just off the top of your head, right? What would be the perfect Pokefest for you? If money wasn't an option, things that you would want to do. What would be your pitch? You don't have to go into a lot of detail. You know what I mean?
All right.
But let's just pretend what in your mind would you want Pokefest to be eventually, right? Maybe not now, but maybe in 10 years.
I already got an answer for you.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. So I've told this to my partners before, and they were like, that'd be cool. I would like the show to get to the point where not only is it stable in the community, but where we can give out a scholarship at some point. That's what I want to, that's where I foresee Pokefest going. Whether it's a 1 day or 2 day event, it doesn't matter. I would like to be at that point where we can give back to the community, scholarship. Because I think it would be cool. Down here we kind of need all the help we need, so it's always about going back to the community. We started out Palmer Pavilion. Now we have all this. We have all the support from people and vendors and friends and stuff. People that grew up basically at Pokefest, So it's about continuing that going and at some point getting to where we do a scholarship.
Right. So the scholarship would be the end prize. Is there any particular talent you would want to have at that particular Pokefest?
Oh, people. Okay.
Yeah. Or would you want to just keep it more towards the vendors and stuff?
Well, I mean, so when you have talent and stuff, you have to find that balance. You know what? You want to get somebody that's super talented that people are just going to go see them and not go to the vendors. You have to keep it balanced. So I know for sure I had asked about Dan Green, and he was unfortunately out of our price range. Dan Green is Yugi Moto from Yu-Gi-Oh! He's also Entei from Pokemon the movie, right? And a bunch of other stuff. He's voice acting royalty. That'd be kind of cool to have him there. But unfortunately, he's out of our budget. But I think that would be kind of cool. Hey, we brought Entei here, and then we would be something legendary or whatever. Also, Veronica Taylor, she's the first Ash catcher, and I think that would be cool. I know they've mentioned it, the gentleman who sings the Pokemon theme song. That'd be kind of cool too.
No, that'd be cool.
We'd have a concert. I know we had Sonic Boom last year, but it's imagine we had the concert. Yeah. We are working on something right now in the back to maybe do another concert, but wait for the details.
Wait for the details. Yeah. Lima said it sounds like a 990 or 501c. Just to write everything off. That's funny. So, all right, very cool, Margaret. So, but besides that, I know you have a show coming up.
Yes.
It's going to be the Turtle Lair Toy Show.
Yes.
Which is going to be on Bryan Road, right?
Yeah.
Mission?
721 Bryan Road.
So, do you want to tell us a little bit about the Turtle Lair Show? I know it was in memory to one of the people that was heavy in the community.
Yeah, Leo. It's my friend Leo Pina. We've met actually the third Pokefest. They were my vendors. Him and Margie were my vendors. So I've known him since a while. So Leo was one of the biggest Ninja Turtle fans besides Margie and myself that I've known. And when he unfortunately passed suddenly, I wanted to see what we could do to help Margie and the kids, because bills do not stop, as we mentioned. So I was like, I want to do something. And I was like, I wasn't sure. And I think it was like a few days later, I was like, I think a toy show would be good. Because Leo was always about collecting. Like, and then like have a little collecting area and stuff. So I was like, yeah, okay, we can get this. So I talked to my partner Miguel and stuff, and we got a venue, and just started plugging stuff in. Mm-hmm. So we're gonna have it on February 10th. It's gonna be next week. We're gonna have card games. We're gonna have video games. We're gonna have Ninja Turtle bingo, which bingo right now super popular, like super popular. Loteria, any theme, whatever, like. Anime bingo. I remember I did that for like KishiCon convention that's no longer here, but that was the first anime bingo, and then other people were like, "Yeah, that's good." So they took that idea and started running it themselves. We also do Pokemon bingo at Pokefest, which is one of the biggest staples one. But we're gonna do that, and then you guys got some more really nice collection of vendors and toy collectors that are gonna be going. And I'm trying to get a pizzeria out there, because turtles and pizza. Yeah. So, the other show, this is where I'm bringing the poster. It's gonna be the Sanrio one, Sanrio Fest. It's gonna be in the same place because we really like Mission, and it's very affordable. So, for this one, we're at 3.9 thousand people interested on Facebook. We just went through 65 vendor applications trying to get everybody. Unfortunately, there's not 65 vendor spots, so we have to cut some people and stuff, and repeats and whatnot. But yeah, that's the next one, and we're gonna have a main cafe, photo op area, and stuff. If you went to GhibliCon, it's gonna be like that, but more Sanrio. If you missed GhibliCon, you missed out on one hell of a party. So that one was really good too and stuff. But those are the two main ones, and then Pokefest. Stay tuned. We do have a date, like I said, but we're getting all the contract stuffs organized stuff.
Hey, for Sanrio, my girlfriend went to the GhibliCon, and she liked that vendor that had the chamoy pickles. That one gonna be there or no?
Oh yeah, I hit them up.
Cause she's gonna make me go. I'm gonna be like, it's my birthday weekend though, but what's it called?
I mean, you can pop in for a bit.
I'm gonna pop in all like half hungover. I'm just kidding. I'm like,
we'll have water for you.
No loud music. No, I'm just kidding. Well, no, that's awesome. So we got the Turtle Air show going on next weekend, and then we have Sanrio. And this is kind of an open forum. The last few minutes here, Margaret, that we have left. Any shows you want to talk about 2024? Anything you want to put out there? Anything?
We're also doing a retro gaming fest. That's going to be April 20th, same place in Mission. That one, Stephanie Ward and myself are working on it. So we're still taking vendors, guys, in case you're interested. That one should be fun. We got a little play area and stuff for the kids and whatnot, and then of course gaming. So fun times all around, and aguas frescas, which is the main thing. Man, I'm hooked on the mangoes. The mango one, that's my jam. I got a funny story that I'm going to share. So Miriam had done the Day of the Dead event in Edinburgh, right? Okay. And they get like that much left on the juice, and it's like, well, we toss it out or something. And then she's like, hey, just bring a jug and I'll fill it up. And I was like, bet. All right. So I showed up with the what do you say? The Tampico empty jar. And I was like, here you go. So like she filled it up, and then she put like the other like half of it like lemonade in there. So I was like drinking aguas frescas for like 2-3 days. And I put all these memes with like the guy with the giant aguas frescas. And I'm like, that's me right now. I'm like, I feel so refreshed.
That's awesome.
But yeah. So those are the next shows that were coming up, guys. So it's the main ones, which will be Pokefest. And, I'm looking forward to Comic-Con as well. So
right. Comic-Con's the staple, man. I always feel like that's kind of like the one everybody wants to get to, right? But,
yeah. I have to remind people, and it's gonna sound like a joke, but I have to tell people like, I don't work for them, dude. They're like, how do we get in? I'm like, you apply like everybody else. Like, well, you have to running it. No. I'm not the one running it. Like you can. Oh, now we're like, here you can talk to Marla or Ramsey. They do it. They're like, oh, okay. I thought you ran it. I'm like, no. Pokefest. That's mine. And all the little ones.
No, that's awesome. I mean, it's good and bad, right? Sometimes people have the misinterpretation, or they jump into conclusions for some reason. Or some people just like to talk a lot of shit too. That's always another one.
Oh yeah. There's a big difference between talking facts and talking shit.
Yeah, absolutely. But all right, Margaret. Well, I appreciate your time. But definitely looking forward to it. So if you guys are in the Mission area on this next weekend, we got the Turtle Air Show. Cover charge.
$2 to go in.
$2 to go in. Sounds for a good cause. They're gonna have prizes for their games, the bingo, and all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably end up donating some pops, just an FYI. Surprise!
Oh, thank you. We appreciate it.
So, besides that, thank you guys for joining us on this awesome Friday evening. Besides that, guys, I mean, bye.
Bye.
See you guys. I don't have a